Good afternoon. Euro Super Touring Car action coming up for you around one of the shorter layouts of the Nurburgring. It is familiar to those that watch the German Touring Car Championship, the Sprint Arena GP chicane variant, according to certain websites there. On pole, Henri Bianchi has been there or thereabouts, and hopefully we'll see him thrive at the front of the field. But alongside him is a well-known potential threat. 4 times winner this season, Marco Kubica. But the biggest shock of qualifying has to be fifth place's Shane Radicic. This is completely out of left field, given the form book. I think we'll have to ask our colleague in the box about that. So this is Adrian Michael Rees, and alongside me, Michael Swinton. Swinny, good afternoon. And yeah, the fact that, well, Henry's done well on pole, but I think even Shane himself doesn't compute how he managed to get that car so far up the field.
Oh, for sure. He after qualifying and after, all the cars had been round, he gave his race engineer such a big hug because they've finally worked out something with the car and finally got the thing to behave in a way that Shane likes it. And they're finally honing in, getting that Honda to act in accordance to Shane's driving style and preferences.
Which then means this should be a cue for momentum going into Deep Forest and the final round at Brands Hatch for that Europe car team.
He's hoping.
His teammate will come alongside. There's fog, but they're going to see very well. Kubica already into the lead. How'd you like that? You got Ivan Dalmas then, the front-running Peugeot of all things. Nilsson with a bit of a barge on the inside. Radicic holding strong already. Not necessarily, I was going to say, Morris was always going to be a threat early on. Decent with traffic. Oh, surprisingly little contact there between Radicic and Morris, but you can see that Ingram's already starting to fly up from the midfield as well. The Eddie Carroll Lloyd's Ford in its standard good position in the front of the field there. Through the bypass there. Through Curzan Bedong, the bypass. Michelin still banking there. That's Ingram down the inside perhaps of Radicic. His teammate Winkelhock not that far back, but Liuzzi's had a bit of a flyer as well from the back of the pack as well. Slight lottery, that particular grid at the start of the race. Gavan doing quite well. You can see a glimpse of him too. Here's the NGK chicane. Still certain side-by-sides. There's Winkelhock getting ahead of Maro Heidfeld on a part-time basis, but therefore back where he was. Gavan onto the shirt tails there. Ingram, I think that's about, he's cut half of his grid slot down. I think he was 14th on the grid, wasn't he?
14th, 12th, they're or thereabouts, but now he's getting completely freight trained by a whole horde of cars going past him. All that work he's made up in the complex, he's just lost down the start-finish straight.
There goes Winkelhock, but then the momentum has gone. Ingram back around the outside. But
we know that Volkswagen behaves well. It is an ex-Nico Werks, championship winning car, so we know it has speed.
Nico Werks works car. You can see Shane Radicic has managed to retain some of that pride of qualifying well. He's back to 6th, and there's Ingram and Eddie Carroll's car having a bit of a tussle as well. Some of these camera shots not giving us the whole field, but
this director does like to zoom in a lot, doesn't he? Down the inside, Ingram goes again. He's got the momentum. He's got the handling on the fellow privateers around him, despite the fact they're all racing for a top 10 position, which is not where you'd normally expect to see privateers. This is, you know, these slots are normally quote unquote reserved for works drivers, and yet here we are with
Well,
a host of
I think
privateers.
this is where the sort of quality between the World and the Euros is kind of self-evident, in that the privateers do have a better chance in winning in this championship than they do in the Worlds. Not that it stops them, mind you. Nilsson in the the Scirocco is ahead. In fact, Dalmas has fallen back behind Nilsson's teammate Morris. They are 3 and 4. So, flying lap complete. Kubica with the fastest lap already.
That's hardly surprising, given how he had clean air straight from the get-go, and he was just able to walk away from the rest of the field.
Speaking of clean air, I think some of the fog or the mist has lifted. Bit of sunshine through the arena there. Tassi now closing in on the top 10. Oh, Heidfeld slipping back even further somehow. Barbosa and Gronholm there. Capelli, brief shot of the 16th place driver there.
Yeah, Renault somewhat bookending the field here, not completely, but with one car in 3rd place and then another car in 16th. You have to wonder what's going on with that camp to warrant such very mixed results.
Bianchi back up to 3rd. We've missed something there.
Yeah, Nilsson got past him at some point. So Bianchi is now sandwiched between the two Volkswagens.
These cars can handle the curves. It's not as violent as it is at Catalonia, that chicane. But obviously it's not as bad as the one that we don't speak about anymore.
Yes, the sausages here are less violent.
Less violent sausages. Kubica still leads. Nilsson with the fastest lap off the back of that overtake on Bianchi, but let's see what Renault Power does before Haukhaken.
He's having a dive.
Down the inside, bit of a bump. Didn't look it there. No scratches.
No, it was a nice idea, but Nilsson can just, you know, keep a wider angle going around that corner and keep the momentum up. Which, you know, you'd think sending it up the inside at such a tight hairpin would be a complete certain move, but not always.
Almost,
as we're seeing
you say
here.
That as you say that as it happens.
Yes.
By the way, Ingram up to 6th ahead of Radicic, still in fairness holding his own. Top 10 still nothing to be sniffed at. This is
Absolutely
best performance of the season.
It looks like Ingram is going to be rather aggressive towards the Peugeot. I get the feeling he knows he's quicker and he's not wanting to get held up by that RCZ. Look at that, already alongside. Not wasting any time. Going to go around the outside of the RCZ.
How do you like that?
They have got that Volkswagen hooked up this weekend.
Didn't do much for his fastest lap that time by, but obviously started to tear away from the Dalmas RCZ. Here's Radicic looking to capitalise.
It is Shane's turn to go against the Peugeot.
Carroll lately on 9th, so the Hyundais, despite recent appearances, kind of back in the mid-pack. We'll see what happens for race 2, of course. And it looks like Nilsson's still got the fastest lap so far. Nilsson might be
here comes Radicic with a dive.
Brave. The momentum might just be in Dalmas's favour there. Through the
he
inside.
had the inside line for that corner, but he backed out of it. Radicic is through.
We kind of assumed, and I still think it might just happen, that Radicic might fall further back, but he is definitely showing us up for the frauds that we are, thinking that was going to happen. Dalmas fallen back to 7th after a second row start there.
Which is sadly half the course for these Works Peugeot cars. We've seen this time and time again so far this season, where they qualify really, really well and then just go backwards.
Déjà vu is, of course, a French word.
I feel like Ivan Dalmas and, to a lesser extent, Pedro Barbosa are getting very, very tired of defending every single race and never getting to be the attacker.
Barbosa's case, fed up of being at the back of the pack as he was for qualifying yesterday. And and he's not in that. It doesn't look like he's in that pack further into the NGK chicane. Ordonez is definitely, well, need we say more? Okay, Barbosa up to 50th.
This has actually moved up into the final points paying position, so that is something at least. He's in front of a Works Renault and a Works Audi back there.
Audi. And there's an Audi in front, and of course the Works Hyundai as well. Yeah, Audi still a head scratcher there.
Yeah, they've their mistakes in previous weekends and rounds with the car setup is still biting them on the behind here, and they're still playing catch up.
And so it's surprising that you'd think they'd know how to get it around here of all places.
Very true. Although I get the feeling their expertise lies out in the Nordschleife.
Possibly.
And this Audi is in speaking to both Rory and Tony, they both said that the car's very quick, the car's very good to drive. Obviously they've proved it, they're both multiple race winners, but in tight twisty sections, which this track has an awful lot of, it doesn't really turn in. It does struggle with understeer a little bit, this car, and that's really hampering their progress through the field and their qualifying efforts. They can't get the car rotated and then get power down like they really want to, like other cars might be able to.
And they can't bring on their four-wheel drive expertise. It's not allowed.
Yes, they'd have to go to the new forming Japanese Super Touring series with that, but even then they wouldn't be allowed the TT over there because of the 5-door rules, so they'd have to use an RS3 over there.
We don't
or even here.
Up. So Nilsson closing in on Kubica as we just traverse the halfway mark.
Nilsson is definitely making a charge here. He's moved up from where he started on the grid, overtaken a few cars, has now caught the leader. Whether he can pass Kubica is a different story entirely. It might be that Marco is just, saving his tyres, looking after his equipment, letting Stefan burn all of his out, trying to keep up. Just have to wait and see.
Then, I'm going to say he's hurting for the fastest lap point. I mean, he's got purple sector just there, nobody behind to worry about for about 5-6 seconds there. Radicic also nothing to worry about behind him as Dalmar starts to become the cork in the bottle on Carroll, Liuzzi, Percy and Winkelhock. In Winkelhock's case, that's still a very good position for the privateer Europe car Honda. Tassi, still decent. Heidfeld though, the veteran, yeah, I think the signs are beginning to appear in the final year of his BMW contract. Having come back, I think this might be a point we have to consider certain choices.
Especially seeing as Pedro Barbosa just went round the outside of him at the kink and cleared of him before the chicane.
Grandhomme with a bit of a bite on the BMW's back bumper. Barbosa doing very well to come back from the back of the pack, already on the Hyundai shirt tails.
Which in turn is looking at Winkelhock by the looks of things.
Now regarding certain changes, we can't really confirm just yet. The mood of Sean Morris and to a degree this guy, Steve Percy, no solid decision just yet, but they feel they seem a lot more chipper than they've ever been around the paddock lately. I wonder what's in store for them.
Well, who knows? Maybe they've signed other contracts with other teams, or they're simply moving on to pastures anew, and they've come to realise that this style of racing is maybe not for them, and that's not to diminish anything from their driving talents, of course. It's just different strokes for different folks. People prefer different things.
Well, Percy has been, I mean, along with Eddie Carroll, that Lloyd's Ford outfit has been fantastic all season. You'd think the momentum would be to stay where they are. Hopefully that is the case, as we see Ingram now gaining on Radicic's questionable line through the Advanbogen.
Just as Ingram got around Radicic, Sean Morris overtook Bianchi.
Yep. Kubica with the fastest lap. 35.3 now. That's taken another 300ths off of the Nielsen fastest lap. Bianchi, I think I got confused because Ingram had a bit of a questionable line through there. I thought that Bianchi had the wobble on, but not so. He's still trying to make up for that lost position. Through the first turn again, how Harkin. Question blind again. Radicic down the inside of Ingram there.
But then just stalled out coming out the corner.
Exactly. That was brave. And it does put him in a more questionable position.
Well,
but even if he does fall back,
he's now just more sort of in a no man's land position because he's still comfortably faster than Dalmas. But then if Liozzi gets through, then Radicic may have to get a bit of a wriggle on to stop the Hyundai catching and passing him before the race is done.
Even if he does fall back with 4.5 to go, this has been his best performance so far, without doubt.
Very much so.
The two leaders, mind, are already at the final chicane before the midfield have actually gone through the middle of the lap.
Yes, if Radicic does as well as he's doing now, or even drops back, a couple of spots, this will be his first top 10 finish of the season so far.
I just hope it is a top 10 finish by the time we get to the end of lap 13. Here's
especially if it's a 10th place finish.
Dalmas fending off a mildly charging Liozzi. Eddie Carroll and Winkelhock behind.
That Hyundai just apparently doing the opposite of Peugeot, where Peugeot is qualifying well and then moving backwards over the course of the race. The Hyundai is qualifying not as well and then moving its way forwards.
And that's been, well, self-evident. And have they put in any more development improvements over the course of the season? Or are they
so,
also...
yes.
I mean, with the final stages of the season to go...
Ingram trying some very different areas of the track here to try and get around this Renault. He's hounding the Renault Bianchi.
I don't think it would have been... well, it didn't look like it was going to be on for around the outside of the exit of that arena. Same for Zambindung.
No, but just...
Alright.
Putting his car in different positions to scare off Bianchi or at least distract him, and there we go, move done. Ingram up to 4th in a privateer VW. Don't know if he's going to have anything to catch the two Works Volkswagens in front of him, or even Kubica, given how far in front they are, but that's still very good going for that team.
So Morris to go for Ingram to get a podium finish. I mean, we've seen him get them before.
It looks like Bianchi's just fading away now. Like maybe he's burnt his front tyres out or something, because now he's under attack from Radicic here. And there is a Liozzi catching the pair of them.
Already gone from Dalmas's grasp. And the chain starting to close in, that particular crocodile behind Dalmas and Carroll being the forefront of that.
Dalmas got a little bit of a breathing room so far, but can Carroll and Winkelhock catch the Peugeot and then pass the Peugeot with the few laps remaining?
Which then means that with Radicic is closing in on the Bianchi Renault as well. Here it is.
Yeah, there. That is a three-way fight for 5th place right now.
2.5 to go. Kubica with a decent gap to Nielsen, but due to the way things are going, I think they're about to lap Ordonez before the checkered flag falls.
That is a real possibility.
Right, they are guaranteed.
Woo, rallycross
points. Purple sector for Ingram. I don't think that's going to count if he does go rallycrossing like that.
Though interestingly, he has caught Morris for 3rd place. Can we see a privateer on the podium again in the European Super Touring Championship?
Who says there's no variety? You can see the rear wing on the works effort in front. being put to shame almost, well before it gets overtook. Oh, was that a
Oh,
bump? I saw
pushing him
smoke.
through the corner. Gen 1 Volkswagen Sirocco versus Gen 2 Works Volkswagen Sirocco.
36.5. A whole second off Kubica's best, but still very good nonetheless.
Personal best, even with the rallycross moment.
Yankee, Radicic and Liuzzi behind. Liuzzi looked like he had a bit of a tap on Radicic's car there.
I definitely heard a tyre squeal in the background, though I'm not sure which one got sideways. They have just spread out a little bit through the complex here.
Lap and a half of goodness to go. Decent crowd in attendance, down mass there. And if I'm not mistaken, we just saw Barbosa, there he is, getting closer into the top 10. But Heidfeld qualifying 8th, managing to sort of keep some pride in place for a top 10 finish. Ergo pole for race 2, but Heinz Winkelhock might have something to say about that, as would Eddie Carroll or Ivan Dalmas.
Although it looks like Heidfeld is on the charge right now. You know, remember, Heidfeld was all the way down in 16th. He was out the points at one point during this race. He had gone backwards off his grid start, and now here he is in 10th place. He's found a very late race resurgence of speed here.
This traffic jam has helped that way.
They're all tripping over each other.
Tassi and Winkelhock side by side. Tassi ahead.
Barbosa's going to follow him.
Same for Barbosa. Barbosa up into 12th. So
Winkelhock might have that back going through the final corner. It's going to be a drag race for these two cars down the start-finish straight.
Maybe Barbosa found something, because, like you say, if it's about good qualifying and falling back, Barbosa seems to be doing the exact opposite, if a little too late. Lap to go.
He's still got himself in the points.
Is about to lap the trailing Ordonez by the looks of it. YouTube stardom, very well for your iRacing career. It's harsh. It's not like.
Yeah, we know he has the speed. We know he has the talent. He has done well in junior formulas, but this is just. I feel like this is just slightly too steep of a learning curve. Now, if he gets a second season, I dare say, you know, he would do a lot better. But that has been, as of yet, unconfirmed.
I think. I mean, obviously, the car, the performance of the team hasn't helped as an example, but what has helped Kubica is that he's in a race-winning car once again. That is number 5 of the season. Nilsson almost got the points for fastest lap, but still gets the points for second place. Morris, P3 and a gap. Ingram has fallen back a little in the end there, and Liuzzi is up to 5th. He's overtook both Radicic and Bianchi with the final turn coming up. Let's see where he is. Still close. So Radicic, that, I mean, you could say magnificent win for everyone, like any other driver. That is as good as a win for the New Zealander, as the rest of the gang finally complete the race. So Kubica's win. 1 lap less work for the YouTuber iRacing's Ordonez, and yeah, that mild to exciting, if I do say so myself. And how was it for you, Swinny?
Yeah, that was good. I mean, you know, it's always nice when you watch essentially your driver, your protege, do very, very well. And it's nice to see, you know, what, 3 privateers in the top 10 there? Shows very, very good parity over the breadth of this field.
Yeah, the closeness of the manufactured privateer output isn't as much of a divide, shall we say. I mean, yes, it should be, but without them, I don't think the sport would thrive as much as it has with this expansion into a European Championship, and looking forward to the Japanese Championship starting next year. But for the time being, Kubica will start from P10. Let's see how it happens as this is on the same weekend as the World Championship. Race 2 begins tomorrow. So we'll see you then. Good racing, everyone.